Well, guys, it was a absolutely busy summer. Kicking off in May, we had the Texas Hills Cycle Show, and then literally a few weeks later, we had Born Free. All of these events kind of had me tied up, along with a very intense bagger custom paint job project that we had to get done mid-June-ish. So in that time frame, what I was trying to do was completely order as many of the parts that I knew I was going to need for the FXR build. That way there's some kind of progress being made on the bike while I was, at Born Free or Texas Hills or working on other projects within the shop. So for a bit of context, in the lead up to Sturgis, we had to finish a Road Glide CVO, which I just mentioned, for my buddy 2147 crew out of Houston. He was building a full all-out CVO Road Glide, everything you can think of doing to it. His was the first project we had to finish, followed by the next one, which was another CVO Road Glide for the Arlen Ness family. That was something that I had to have done by mid-July to get shipped back to Northern California. Those are two main priority projects that I had going on in the shop. Along with, I had 6 helmets to get done for Sturgis obligations. Outside of working on the FXR build for Sturgis, I had all these projects, which I also needed the money from these projects to afford the things on the FXR that I wanted to do. So anytime I customize these older bikes, these older FXRs, Dynas, a couple of the main things that I always do: completely new charging system, so stator, rectifier, battery, and I tend to always end up going with the Mikuni carburetor. Favorite carb, I understand it very well. I try to make sure that those few things happen on every bike that I do here in the shop. Fortunately, my buddy Easy Rider Cycles, Rennie, I usually buy all my parts from him. All the things that I need from drag or whatever accounts he has, I'll go through him. Try to support a friend, try to support a small business. All right, guys, so finished painting, got a lot of things done here in the shop today, so now I'm finally sitting down and gonna start assembling my transmission. This Baker kit comes with everything needed to rebuild a 5-speed transmission. So I'm gonna start assembling my main shaft, and then I'll do my lathe shaft, and then I'll try to get this stuff put together today. I don't know if I'll get that far. I think it's gonna be kind of fun. I've never done this before, so I could either screw up very bad or, succeed. So let's try to succeed. Back at the shop working on the transmission again. Got the gears all set in correctly. Got the bearings pressed in. I have my selector arm, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do now is throw the gaskets on, put the case, the whole transmission shit together. I don't know the proper terms for all this stuff. I'm just trying to let you know what I'm doing. I definitely was intimidated by the project because transmissions, there's just a lot going on. As a whole piece together, it can be overwhelming to look at visually, to understand what the process is going to have to be to take it apart, inspect everything, redo all the bearings, redo all the lock washers, put it back in a sequence, make sure it's all shifting and rotating properly. That can be nerve-wracking. But on the back end of that being done now, I could tell you that it was a project that I'm glad I undertook. I understand it to a much deeper level now. With the transmission wrapped up and me finally getting the Metzler tires put onto the Arlen Ness wheels, the whole front end together, I was able to pick up the powder coating, the frame, the swing arm. The motor was going to be ready for me to pick up from Russell, who completely did the whole motor, balanced it, put the EV27 cam in there, bored out the cylinders just a little bit just for some new pistons and rings, port and polish the heads. He did all that stuff and had it ready for me to pick up the week after, which was awesome because it allowed me to get the bike into a roller.
just gently rest your cutter, you know, your tool, just barely, you know what I'm saying? Like just barely touch it to get the gap out. Then you're gonna zero out your indicator, right? So now we have our good starting point. So I'm gonna back out, kind of move a little bit. But, so now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go 20 thousandths. Lock it, here we go. It should be golden.
That's our gap right there we're trying to fill. Use the filler gauge here.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of like creating your own little shim stack, and you just experiment. Is it gonna take more or less? Okay, that's not even fitting, so I'm gonna take off something. Try again. Well, that is
money.
That does feel like money. So let's see what this is. This overall thickness here, you can use your dial caliper. So basically it's under 100,000. So it's about 85 thousandths of a final spacer that we need to get everything just absolutely perfect. So the goal is where everything just slides in without a lot of stress. You're not pushing the swing arm out, right? You're not flexing it to force everything in. And on the other side, you don't have huge gaps to where you're totally pinching the swing arm when you tighten your axle. You want everything to be static, nothing in a bind.
So we have the wheels buttoned up. We got the front and the rear, all the spacers done. Calipers are on there. We're spinning freely. The next big tackle is gonna be spreading this, the legs of this fender out to clear the tire. You wanna explain how we're gonna?
Dude, we're doing some real scientific stuff here, right? So we're gonna basically take these two fender brackets, right, which are currently parallel.
Yeah.
We're initially gonna put a bend in them to open them up like this. Then once we know that we've opened them up enough to clear the tire, now we're gonna put another bend in a little bit higher and to make the two brackets parallel again, but we basically just offset the spread a little bit.
The thing is that Ness doesn't make smaller wheels that fit these older Dynas and FXRs. The front wheel, I had to use basically the wheel that you would find on a more modern Dyna. While it does completely fit within the fork tubes on a narrow glide front end, it's crammed in there.
We did a whole bunch of stuff. We got your front wheel centered in the forks. Then we got your actual, your calipers driven. We got those centered on the discs. We got your front fender flared out to where it's no longer, these brackets, fender braces, no longer touching the tire. We got your front end set up for your front end follow weight. That's all done. Onto the rear, we did all your spacing on the rear. We got your rear wheel centered directly in the frame, and we've got your rear caliper centered directly over the rotor as well. So I think you're set.
Yeah. Next stop, Sturgis.
Sturgis, yeah.
You're gonna be on the chopper this year.
I'm gonna be on a chop. I'm bringing a chopper, but that's gonna be on a trailer.
Okay.
You're gonna be a real man to ride a bike, but we fully engage sissy mode every time we go to Sturgis, so no problem.
You don't have anything to prove. So my vision all along with this paint job and overall entire aesthetic of this bike was I wanted the bike to be very dark, because these Ness wheels, the anodized gold is so loud that that's really what I wanted to be the main attraction of this bike. So when you're at a bike night parking lot or just in a parking lot in general, you are drawn to the anodized gold wheels. They're gonna pull you in from across the parking lot. But the goal is with the paint and the other details on the bike is as you get closer, more of the details, they reveal themselves to the viewer as you get closer. One of the colors that I've always really enjoyed this color. I actually used it on my Lowrider ST back in 2023. Jeremy at Lucky Strike actually put me onto this color. It's called Brown Sugar. It's from PPG. It's quite expensive, to be completely honest with you, but for me, it's got the depth and the feel that I was looking for in a paint that's not actually a candy or a flake. So it's still just a single base coat that achieves a a lot of brilliance and, you know, badassness. With the graphic style on the bike, I wanted to keep it very subtle, kind of like factory-esque. I went with kind of a lowrider FXR style rear fender design. The front fairing just kind of flows into that same feel. The gas tank has your traditional panel. I knew that I wanted to do a logo on the tank, and I spent quite a few hours drawing different variations of logos that I could use on the tank, all of which I had intentions of doing like a pinstriped flame job off of. Ultimately, none of it was really just speaking to me to where I ended up just going back with my original logo. Adding the hollow, you know, pinstriped flames, I think gives it some kind of unique and also classy vibe to it. The paint job is literally probably one of the most simple paint jobs I've ever done for myself, but in my opinion, it's really what I wanted to achieve with this bike and try to do something more simplistic but still impactful, and I hope that I kind of did that. It is 12 o'clock at night, Friday night. I have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then supposed to leave Wednesday. As you can see, I'm doing a little welding. I don't know if you can see this in here, but basically I have these scraps that I've had laying around that are kind of the shapes I'm gonna need. And I'm just kind of mock fitting it up there and seeing how much more I kind of need. So I have a bunch of U-bends here that I'll come back here and kind of guesstimate a little overshoot of what I think I'm gonna need, and then I'll make the cut, put it back up there, and start to kind of get it dialed in. I have no idea if this is the way to do it. This is just the way I did it last time. I'm building like one exhaust system every so often, and I'm not really that great at it. So I just want to, you know, this is how I do it. So that's what I'm about to do. All right, so I got my first cut, and I think it's pretty dialed, as you can see. Kind of getting there. Probably start working on this to bring everything down. I'd like to angle this merge collector. That way it's sitting kind of at an angle like that rather than like this, just so that I can kind of, you know, mess with some ground clearance, if that makes sense. Plus it'll be easier to bring this pipe down on the backside and meet it at an angle like right around over here than it would be to try to get that pipe to come down and be perfectly perpendicular here. It would almost need to be there, and that would look kind of weird. On this area, I kind of want the pipe to come down and stagger. That's kind of the look that I want right there. It kind of blocks some of this area so it's not visible, and you get like a good look here. I think I have a flow that I like. It's a little bit longer than my exhaust on the FXR chopper. I don't know, I'm kind of feeling this, honestly. So check it out. I got the turnout right here to hopefully clear out some of the heat. There's a metal shield underneath the Leather Pros here. We got the exhaust bracket here that's gonna have to get built off of, so I need space to clear some things. You know, I have two pie cuts right here, 2-inch pie cuts that I'm gonna weld to this, off of this, and then I should be able to tack it all up. I like the turnout where it's coming down but kicking out just a hair. I don't know, feeling it. What do you think? I love doing the pie cut turnouts that was made famous by Royalty Racing, Patrick, who lives up here in the DFW area. Known him for years, big fan of his stuff. Royalty Racing kind of brought that flavor to our industry, you know, 10 years ago. The brand has since been bought and is now being produced through another company. But ultimately, I knew how I wanted the pipe to flow, and an off-the-shelf pipe wasn't going to accomplish the thing that I wanted. And at this point, coming down to the wire, it was when I kind of realized that I was not going to make Sturgis on the FXR. A ton of emotions. I didn't cry, but there was just a lot of feeling of defeat, feeling of, you know, like just down. I didn't accomplish this goal. You know, it got the best of me, and I realized that I spent way too much time at the early part of this project not utilizing my time as efficient as I could have, which ended up shoving too much of the work into the last minute. And that's not just on the bike, that's also the paint work that I had going on for the customers for Sturgis. There was a sense of relief once I made the decision not to try to finish it. There was also, like I said, a sense of like defeat, but once again, is what it is. Getting home from Sturgis, kind of re-energized, revitalized, I was able to step back, look at where I was on the FXR project, and kind of get back into gear. And one of the best things about this reset was I felt myself at the end, or leading up to Sturgis, I was starting to push myself through parts of this build that I wanted to spend more time to make better, more perfect, if you will. And because of the crunch of time to get it done, like I just felt myself rushing through it. So with the added bonus of now not having a deadline on this bike anymore, it allowed me to kind of step back, see where I was, assess what needs to be done, and move forward. I still had a deadline in mind. I wanted to get this bike off the lift. I wanted to get past this project because of the other project right behind me that needed to get started on. So I spent the entire weekend dialing in all the last little details. I think I am ready to finally start it. I got fluid in it, got gas in it, everything's ready. I've double checked everything I've done so many times that this should be a pretty smooth, bam, starts. So, all right, let's choke it, give it a little 2 pumps of gas, see if it squirts in there. Oh yeah, see that squirt? It's the only thing I know how to make squirt. All right. Now that the bike is done, I got to do it all over again on this one. Fortunately, I think that I'm in a better spot now. We have about 2 months until Born Free Texas. Sorry that I had to kind of do this recap style thing. Hopefully we'll see you at Born Free Texas, and can't wait to show you the process on this build back here. I appreciate you guys watching along. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.